Mike McCool. I'm in the Royal Examiner studio, and with me today is Hollis Tharpe. Hollis is on the ballot for the November 5th mayoral election here in Front Royal. This is a special election, Hollis. You were kind of instrumental in this special election.
Yes, I was.
You were. So, unfortunately. So we know a little bit about that, and we'll get to that in a minute. But let's start with the question we normally ask candidates when they're running: is why in the world do you want to run for political office?
In 2000, when I ran for council, I thought I would just run for one term. But for some unknown reason, it just got in my blood, and I was able to see where I was able to help people get through the government door, to do things, ask questions, answer questions, whatever they needed answered. And I love what I do. Some people work on jobs 30, 40, 50 years. They love what they do. They stay there. They don't go anywhere. So.
It's kind of like retirement, huh? I mean, you have the time to do it. And
retirement is when you lay down and die.
Yeah.
That you're retired. For right now, this is a vehicle that I can use to stay physically, mentally in shape. When you're the mayor or serving on council, you're out and about every day. You get phone calls, you get texts, you get emails. You're out and about in the grocery stores, and people want to talk about things, and
sure.
You take time, and I love it. I absolutely love it. It's instilled in me now. So, and I've been doing it now close to 15 years.
Right. Well, let's go back to.
I guess it would come second to being the ice cream man.
That's right.
Next year I'll celebrate 25 years on the ice cream truck. So
yeah, well, you do have a unique position in town. Let's go back at kind of like how we got into this special election. You were the mayor last year, and you stepped down. So you want to take it from there?
Sure. I guess rewinding the clock a little bit, back in September of 18, one of the newspaper reporters came up and said, "Hey, do you realize you're under investigation?" And I said, thinking, well, why would I be under investigation other than... And
someone sold some bad ice cream.
So after I thought about it a couple of days, it's like, well, maybe it's because the town council launched the Virginia State Police investigation, being second cousin to Miss McDonald, being on council, being the mayor. Maybe they just had to look at me as anybody else. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out that way. Come year 19, I'm serving along, re-elected in November with 4,535 votes. Strong support. Things are moving right along. Council's moving along. Things are moving along. And all of a sudden it comes to an abrupt end when two state troopers, investigators, show up at my home. And we talked for about an hour, and they asked me a lot of questions. And when they left, maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, I got a phone call that says, "Hey, do you mind coming down to the court? We're going to indict you for..." I really hate saying that word, solicitation, but it really makes you feel crappy even just saying the word.
Right.
It's not my character. It's never been my character. But anyway, I went down, did my thing in court, took 4 days off, put myself on administrative leave without pay, and then after thinking about it, knowing that council needed a tiebreaker. They needed a mayor that was able to be there for the citizens and the council and the staff. I decided that the best thing to do would be just step aside, clear my name, clear all the issues. I just wanted to take my black cloud and go hide in a corner. And that's what I did. I stepped down. Thank God that everything has been cleared, charges have been dropped. For whatever reason, I'm just glad it's over, and now I'm ready to step back into the helm. I didn't do anything. When you solicit, it must come from your lips, and when I was charged with that, I knew 100% nothing like that came out of my lips. So people don't know that my wife is actually the one that's seen the ad. 10% off or $10 off first
Hollis
visit.
always looks for a bargain.
Yeah. So, no, she knew that I was having a massage, and she was always welcome to come with me She was always afraid that for her size frame that it would hurt. So she never did go. But she's seen an ad that was on Facebook. She says, hey, here's some people just opened up a new business. Maybe go try them out. So that's what I did. I seen nothing wrong with it. She was invited to go. She was going to go just to go. But unfortunately, the great-grandbaby came along, and somebody had to watch, so she stayed home and watched the grandbaby. I did these appointments in the middle of the day at noon. There wasn't no 8, 9, 10, and 12 o'clock at night scenarios. Very open. You text, you got the appointment, you went, you had your massage, you left, and you called for the next appointment. And I had 2 appointments. So anyway, that was a big mouthful, but and there's just the thing out there that to me it's very embarrassing to be even charged with anything. And when you're charged with something sexual, that's pretty. Even though it's the lowest of the low that they could charge anybody, you feel like nothing.
Right.
Your foundation is totally just wiped out from underneath of you. Your character's gone down the drain, and you break down for a little while, but then you get mad, and then it's like, I didn't do this, but you have to do what you have to do. And if I had to do it all over again, I would do it all over again. Not the massage part, but the stepping down.
Right.
Okay. So,
And I think
and here we are today. I feel very confident that for the most part, most people know that that is not my character. The first week when all this came down, we had hundreds and hundreds of phone calls and texts and people stopping by the house. They brought food. It was very tiring just responding to people, but it paid off. And actually, the prosecution was going to use my hundreds of supporters to get my case moved from Warren County out of to.
Right,
to,
I seen
to move
that.
it.
I seen that letter. Yes.
Yeah. So for whatever reason, people know me that you can't have an ice cream man out there dealing with children with that kind of stuff. No, it's
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I do know Hollis has shared things with me here and some of the interviews you had with the state police. I would say their interview with you was pretty tough and threatening almost. If I was listening to it, not knowing the situation, I would say they pretty much threatened you with, like, you're going to spend the rest of your life in jail almost. It seemed like it, didn't it?
When they come to your door and you offer them a place to sit, well, they chose their own place. One sets to your left, one sets to the right. They get you in a crossfire. And you keep telling them that you never asked, you never was offered, point blank.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they get upset and they stand up and they tell you that so-and-so is going to say this and so-and-so is going to say that. And I'm thinking, boy, what a script's already been written.
Right.
It has already been written on the wall. So it just evolved from there. And they were real nice,
Right.
They were friends or whatever, to be.
Sure.
I wouldn't wish this on anybody.
Right.
I can understand what the Board of Supervisors and the EDA members are going through because it has just took their foundation right from underneath them.
Like knocks you, what you say, cut your knees, cut your legs off from under you.
It's an expensive proposition to your pocketbook. You only have so much money that you're going to have for the rest of your life to live on. Now
Sure.
you have to give it to lawyers, because they have to live, they have to buy groceries. So, but it's all behind me. The election is coming, November the 5th. I've had tremendous support. I have over 70 magnets on automobiles that
Yes, I've seen your magnets all over town.
people have asked for those. I didn't ask anybody to put anything on their car. 95% of the signage are in people's yards they have asked for, and I've taken and given to them. I think I have maybe 175 in people's yards, so you do the multiplication. Win, lose, or draw, Gene's still going to be there. If I lose, I won't be there. And if I'm not there, that means that when Gene takes over as mayor, then they're going to have to appoint somebody.
Well, they'll appoint you.
So it's going, well, that would be nice. But, who are they going to appoint?
Right.
The second time around. So, but it is what it is, and it has been what it has been, and I'm slowly rebuilding my character. You do sit in a restaurant and you look over, somebody's staring at you, wondering what they're thinking.
Right.
But for the most part, I just sweep it under the rug and keep getting it. So
Yeah, keep getting it.
When you-
Well, let's say, what is your plans for the future as far as you get elected, let's say, as mayor and going forward? You know, we have all this EDA stuff hanging over the town's head and the county's head, and we had block grants we're working on and trying to get built.
Well, let's start with the EDA
All right.
first. We were sitting at a work session, and Vice Mayor Bill Seelock said, we need to find out how much money we owe the EDA so that maybe we can pay off some of these debt, because we were trying to figure out how we were going to pay for this police department.
Right.
So we started asking through our staff, the EDA, for documentation, how much we owe for Leach's Run, how much we owe for Ball Drive, how much we owe anywhere we have these fair funding formulas.
Sure.
And I want to make it clear that when we were doing that, we wanted to make sure that we weren't going to hamper the Board of Supervisors if we paid some of these off, because then that would, because we pay yearly. So we started asking, and months went by, and we went into close talking about it. And we went into a close, and the council directed me to have a meeting. It was myself, Bill, Vice Mayor, Joe, our accountant, our director of finances, our town attorney. Greg was there. Jennifer McDonald was there. Maybe one or two other people from the EDA board. But we were there for maybe an hour and a half, and we just couldn't get anything. So we go back and report to the council, and the council directs Doug to direct the chief to call the state police and put it on an investigation. Pretty simple as that. So there it is. And we seen these irregularities. The council didn't see it. I didn't see it. We always got the right answer. Well, we thought there was the right answer
Sure.
when we asked questions. But unfortunately, for whatever's going on, whatever the outcome's going to be, I have no clue. I just know that it was found that we were up in the $300,000 range of overcharge, whether it was called embezzlement or whatever, but we were overcharged. So,
We
having
were
said
paid it
that,
sooner than it was due.
yes, kind of, maybe.
Not money that you owed.
And
just
they
what
offered
wasn't
to,
due.
they did offer to pay it back, but
Yeah.
we were given legal advice by our town attorney, do not accept, because we didn't have the full picture. So when we couldn't get the full picture, we turned it over to the Virginia State Police, the council. So each time I met with council, I always reminded them that, disclosed that she is second cousin. If you would like me outside the room, I'll be more than happy to leave, and they never did. They realized that I served 14,000 people other than just 2 or 3. When you're the mayor, you serve the town. You just don't serve a special group. So that's how that kind of got started.
Right.
That's what gave me the indication that I was going to be under investigation.
Right.
Was going to be because we
EDA.
had just launched it 2
Right.
weeks prior.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, and people have to understand too that the town is not making any payments on loans, the police department, anything to do with EDA, they're not making any payments. If there's any tax increase, it will not be because of the money missing from the EDA. A lot of people think that with all these millions and millions missing, which they really don't have a number yet, it's just kind of a guessing game. And it could be millions and millions, but nobody really knows yet. But they're working on it. They're doing their due diligence, and I've been going to the meetings that they have with the new board, and they're setting up committees, oversight. The county is taking over funding, writing checks, and so we're moving along with EDA,
Moving forward.
moving forward.
People that I've talked to Doug Parsons at the EDA, they really see a positive outcome, and people are still coming looking for building where they're building a new logistics center out by the RSW.
They're still asking. Somebody's getting ready to build out there. Sheets getting ready to build here in town.
Right.
Those 2,000 or 3,000 jobs that are in the corridor are because of the EDA. They just didn't come and blossom up. It was through the EDA that all these businesses that came here with Ferguson and all that. It must be 3,000 jobs, and they're good paying jobs.
Right. Well, I think our new board is really diligent at the EDA. I think they're going to pull things out and get us headed back on the right direction and be a little more transparent this time around.
I know that council is talking about having its own EDA, kind of like maybe. Before all this happened, I had already thought about maybe putting some packets together. I remember when they did the Crooked Run, there was a packet put together. It was delivered to every business in town. Some went out there and invested and rented. So why couldn't we do the same? Put 100 packets together and send them out to other businesses. We don't have a men's store. We don't have any of that on Main Street. We don't have it anywhere in Front Royal.
Well, if you
We
don't
don't
ask,
have a one grocery store, Mike.
that's true. If you don't ask, though, no one's going to come.
I'm sure that the property management that has the old Food Lion is diligently or was diligently working on finding somebody to occupy that as a store.
Right.
I'm understanding that Big Lots are to move there, Harbor Freight's to move into Big Lots, but I'm also understanding that that may have fell through. I don't know for sure yet.
A talking point at the moment.
Yeah, a talking point at the moment, but the
So where do you-
CDBG grant that's on Main Street,
Right.
it's going to make the buildings pretty when tourists come. It's going to be nice to look at. The beautiful flowers that our horticultural takes care of. She feeds those things daily.
I know it. They grow like weeds. No, excuse not. They grow like flowers.
They just don't water those things. They put love.
They do a lot of work on those.
They do a tremendous. I mean, just look around town. Go out by the police department. Look at the front of the police department. Beautiful, beautiful. Everything is just magic fingers. Just boom. So, yeah, you can spend $700,000, and we're going to do that. We're going to put the new center down at the gazebo with a couple bathrooms. But unfortunately, though, when you put a concrete bathroom in, that people are going to stay longer.
Well,
They're not going to hurry up and get into Johnny Blue and leave. So it'll create its own
line.
Somebody has to clean it and all
that's
these
a lot
things.
more involved.
Yeah. So, but it's a good idea, and we do need it. It's the face that the people put on Main Street that's in the business. We have multiple eateries now. Parking lots are full at nighttime, on weekends. They're full. People are roaming around Main Street, 20 and 30 people at a time. So it's really good, but they also need to put things on Main Street and elsewhere in town. People want a Chick-fil-A. You're not going to put a Chick-fil-A on Main Street. Chick-fil-A has billions and billions of dollars. They can buy, just like Sheetz did, they could buy this place out here from Llewellyn, actually. They could buy that whole place and put a nice Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
But it's up to them, Yeah, we have another Taco Bell going in out there. Somebody invested money. They wanted to do it, so.
Yeah.
Things are
They
moving.
they see things moving and people coming. That's why people invest in those businesses.
Yes, absolutely. As mayor, I attended every ribbon cutting, just thanking them for investing in our community because it means jobs and it means tax base, especially tax base. So.
Well, you plan on, if elected, you think you'll be doing anything different than you've done in the past? Maybe a little newer vision?
Council, I kind of drive the locomotive, but the council operates the train.
Yeah. They're shoveling the fuel, right?
Yeah, you have 6 members, and they all have different ideas. Sometimes I don't agree, and they don't agree with me, but we learn to agree to disagree. But you have to keep going to go. You have to, you just have to keep going. The Afton Inn. Let's talk about the Afton Inn for a minute.
Okay.
$2.5 million. We made a bridge loan for $10 million for the IT Federal because we had 600 jobs coming. Now you have 2 developers that are stalled in the mud. They want to develop this whole corner, not just the Afton Inn. And yeah, it's not going to look like the Afton Inn did way back when, but that's an important piece of Main Street, right on one of the main corners.
It's definitely not our main attraction at the moment.
The town, but when council makes this decision, it's very easy for the town to get behind a developer, to get that developed. All they would have to do is say, let's do it. That's all they would have to do. But unfortunately, the wheel's not there at the moment. If they would just put a roof on it and put windows in it for now, would make a huge difference. But right now it's just sitting there and everybody's talking about it, everybody looks at it.
Well,
It's
speaking
hideous
of,
looking. I mean,
but
you got to understand, my council from back in the 90s had been trying to get that building
true.
and get that building. And when it came to the availability that the old town hall, and we had thought about, that's when Mayor Dar was in charge, we had an estimate of maybe $1.5 million to refurbish the old town hall. But you still couldn't get around. It was just too small. And then when Tim Dar, our past mayor, found the BB&T was going out of business, bank building was for sale, Perfect. Drive-through window, 37% people use it. Have an elevator, people use it to go up and down that have disabilities, so it was a good fit. We had this building that you don't want.
And it cost about the same as what it was going to cost to renovate the other building.
Exactly. And we got that spare lot that we have for the employees so we don't intrude into the town parking. Was it a good deal? You know, the guy wanted $2 million for the afternoon. $2 million. You know, you put a price on anything. Both of them were probably valued maybe a little close to each other, maybe not. But we offered, the council voted, we offered, he took it, and now we own this. We turned it over to EDA with good intentions. Do not spend no tax dollars, and so far we haven't. But it would just be foolish to tear it down with the money that's been invested in it just as it is. I'm understanding that the developers had maybe $500,000 invested, so it would be
well, you know, $500,000 doesn't go as far as it used to.
No, they did a lot of brickwork, and that was mainly for brickwork. So, yeah. But it's on stall, and hopefully the EDA and the town will get together.
Well, you know, you mentioned the afternoon, but that also is kind of like the catalyst for our dilapidated building and eyesores we have throughout our community, which really makes the whole community look bad.
Well, we passed an ordinance for dilapidated buildings. Unfortunately, we don't have the funds. I was of the opinion, and I hadn't shared it. I think I had talked with Joe, our town manager, that as we sell town property, alleys, right-of-ways, such as that, you know, we sold the old library, or not the old library, we sold the old post office building for maybe $250, and we sold up on 6th Street, the old electric department. We could have took that monies, and we could have purchased maybe a building or two, and maybe turned it over, not to the EDA, but to maybe Habitat for Humanity. Get a group of people, some mechanics, plumbers, carpenters, people of professions, to get this thing rolling, and we could actually do this. It wouldn't be hard to do it at all. It just takes some initiative of council to move forward. Yeah, you know, the mayor is powerless without the council. The council makes the power, the mayor.
You got the power of the bully pulpit. That's really what the mayor has.
You know, pretty much, but I can say that for the 2.5 years I was there, I enjoyed it. I never had any problems. People come up, I allowed them time to speak because they are paying our wage. They're paying for that building. They're paying for the electric. It's their building. It's their time. Let them speak. So.
Well, that brings up a point too, and I think what's going on is this: people throwing around the word transparency. We have too many closed sessions. We understand there's a need for that, but
well, I've noticed that also. If you remember correctly, the last meeting that I had on the EDA, I didn't take it into closed because I felt it was time that people started knowing things, and we held it in open session. We didn't go into closed. I think you remember that.
Right.
And I made it very
clear.
We
have it on video.
I made it very clear that, you know, I'm tired. And now I'm thinking, okay, if we need to go into closed, let's go into closed and discuss a little bit that we need to discuss in closed, and then let's come out of closed and finish discussing what we need to discuss. And then maybe having someone that can put information together and let the citizens know what's going on in Front Royal with our government, their government. You know, it's their government, it ain't our government, it's their government.
Well, as you well know, since the Royal Examiner started 3 years ago, literally every work session, town council meeting has been recorded and made available for people to watch. And surprisingly, the numbers of people that watch what I would sometimes, they're, as you well know, slow and dried out, boring meetings, but you know, people watch that.
People watch. You keep a record, and I told you that I really appreciated what you were doing coming into the work sessions, because hardly anybody ever comes to a work session.
That's
but
really where that's where stuff happens.
You were able to bring it to their home.
Right.
Someone asked me, says, "Well, how come you're not going to the council meetings?" I watch it on your video. I mean, it's on your video. I can watch. I don't need to go and watch. I already know what to do. I know what needs to be done.
If any good thing has happened with all this EDA mess, is that people are becoming are
more involved.
Yes,
absolutely.
And sometimes they're a little overexcited, but they are being, all of a sudden, like the veil has been lifted and people are starting to be available at meetings. They're coming to meetings, they're speaking out against things, and they're saying the good things as well. But I think that people are becoming more involved, and I think that's going to be the catalyst to move our community forward.
And let me tell you, I remember very vividly when Walmart issue was coming
Oh,
up.
I remember that.
And I hung in there till the end, I'm guilty of, I didn't listen to the public, and the public says, we're done with you. You're out the door. And out the door we all went.
That was when the broom party, they swept everybody out.
Yes.
And I think we're there again.
You know, we're there again, and learning from that experience. They're not there just to vent.
No.
They're there to let you know you're not doing your job the way we want you to do it. This is the way we want you to do it. So
I think that's what
listen to the public. You get a packed room in there, listen to the public.
Right.
Somebody wants to get up here and stand, as long as they're nice and cordial and not attacking any council member, any board of supervisors, anybody up there, let them speak. You know, if you
Sure.
if you want to be there
we
all
might
night, bring
learn
a pillow.
something. We might learn something.
Yeah, you might learn something. You know, so you know, and Bevan, you know, talking about learning something. Bevan, you know, she was elected in 2014 under the prior mayor for 2 years, and then I had her under me for 1 year. And she asked some really valid questions, maybe a little unorthodox how she, you know, tried to get the information, you know, going through council and staff. And some of the members on council just felt that she needed to go directly to EDA and ask these questions. You know, I think they had, you got a copy, like 700 pages
yes.
that she had asked for, and they supplied this. I mean, I don't know what.
A 450-page manifesto, yeah.
Yeah, so, and I did apologize to her last year, or, you know, this year, I think, when she came, that if she thought that I had any way shut her down, and I never had any intentions of shutting her down. I don't think anybody had that intentions. It was just, we were getting these wonderful, wonderful workforce housing was coming. IT Federal's coming, $40 million, 600 jobs, $100,000 jobs. Retail, this is going to be wonderful, great. And nobody wanted to ruin that. That was her biggest stumbling block, was nobody wanted to be the culprit to end IT Federal. Because we were being fed information that, you know, this is all going great, and we're finding out differently now. You know, the police academy, man, it's going to be great. $8 million, somebody's going to give us $8 million free and clear. Sounded too good to be true, but people do that kind of stuff.
They do.
People do it. You're going to have 30, 40 police officer, law enforcement coming into town. They're not going to be stealing from you. They're not going to be robbing you, but they're going to be good, solid people, citizens, spending money.
Spending their money.
Yeah, so, but it didn't happen.
Right.
So the building for the $5 million, and that's out in the county. But I'm at these board meetings every month, and I'm hearing all this stuff. You know, they're buying this building because somebody wants to hire these veterans, disabled veterans. It all fell through, so now you got a building sitting empty that they're working on trying to get rid of some of this property. They need to get rid of some of this property. They need to get their feet back on the ground, get a solid position, and be more transparent.
Right. We'll be going through. They're going to be touring their properties here in the maybe as early as tomorrow and next week, and we'll be there with our camera and go through these buildings. I think people will be surprised of the properties that they do have.
I think so.
Yeah. Well, anything else you want to talk about? I know the election is coming up on November the 5th.
Well, you know, I was raised to always ask for something. Don't just take it.
Sure.
And I would like to have, and I'm sure Gene T. Walt would love to have your vote too, but you can't vote for both of us, and that was the problem
Wait a
back
minute,
in
you
08.
can't vote early and often?
Well, no, you know, but the good thing is, Gene and I have been together on council for probably 13, 14 years. We always get along great. There would be absolutely no animosity if I was back on council with any of the members or Gene. But the good thing is, if I win, I'll be there to serve with Gene. If not, then council, like I said, they're going to have to choose someone, and who are they going to choose to fill out the remainder of his 1 year? So, and then for the last 10 years, that's happened quite often.
Right.
Bevan left, we had to fill up the slot. When I left, council went to mayor, had to give up a slot. I think it was somebody. It was a couple others, I believe, that
Well,
fell in there.
sometimes our appointments weren't the best choices, and I think you can't beat an election. I mean, the election just says.
You know, win or lose, win or lose, you win or lose. It's no in between. It's no in between. When Gene and I ran back in '08, his friends were my friends, and it was hard for friends to, they had to see which one.
Sure.
So
Hey, look at do what's best for the town.
exactly.
And I think that's what you want as well. People should do what they think's the best for the town.
Absolutely. Did we miss anything else that we talked about?
Well,
Economic development, blighted housing. We talked a little bit about EDA,
Transparency.
transparency. What else is the people demanding?
Well, we got the people and we got our social media people. So
We have social media. We have fake Facebook pages. Believe me, I'll stay on that thing 24/7 because people ask you questions and you can respond. And if you read something where they're saying something that's not true, then you can not correct them. With a slap on the wrist, just say, hey, just so you'll know, we're doing this and we're not doing this, and then the thread stops.
Right.
Because now people know.
Yeah, I've seen you.
I don't have all the right answers, but I try to find the right answers. I try to be there for them. I love it.
That's great. I know you have your hearts in the right place for the town, as well as Mr. T-Walt. I think
Absolutely.
Gene T-Walt's, it's the same way. So I'm glad to see you're back. You think if you lose this election, will you be back in a year?
I told my wife I'm gonna throw all the signs away and be done with it.
I've heard a lot of people say that.
Yeah,
I did it.
I had all these signs and I've been using them for years and years and years.
I know you put stickers over top stickers.
I put stickers over top of stickers, and they all say the same thing. Elect Hollis. So the word's out there. Elect Hollis. I did have some new magnets made this year, but I don't like just going out there spending money, wasting money. I pack it all away, and when the time comes, maybe next year, if I don't win this year, maybe I won't go for mayor next year. Our understanding, maybe if Gene is elected, he may want to run for mayor another term, maybe.
Well, you also know your area that you live in is 2 years will be coming up for the Board of Supervisors.
4 years. I'm in Shenandoah.
Oh, darn.
Yeah, I'm in Shenandoah.
They redrew those lines.
Yes, they redrew the line.
Thought you were in Happy Creek, but you're right. They redrew the lines.
Our comprehensive plan is coming about.
That reminds me, we didn't talk about water in the corridor.
Well, you know what? Water in the corridor, we have been providing water in the corridor to all the commercial businesses. Residential is not allowed to have water from the town in the corridor. Unless that agreement is agreed upon, no water is to be supplied.
So you're not in favor of...
Oh, absolutely not.
Were you shocked at the water study that was...
I was a little shocked. We keep spending these millions and millions and millions of dollars to upgrade, and then we upgrade, and the next thing you know, they come along. And the latest I understand, before I had to step down for a while, was medication is being put in toilets,
right.
And now that's got to be addressed.
The estrogen and the things in the birth control pills that women take is now getting into the water, and the fish are sterile. So Gene brought that up. He said that'll be the next thing we have to take out of.
Well, sure, yeah, we've already talked about it 2 years ago.
Yeah,
in our water treatment plant. Yeah, so, absolutely. That's
people think this water is limitless.
The good thing is, and we kind of drug our feet on our wastewater treatment plant because it was going to be a $50 million project.
Right.
And we didn't have the money. The water issue came up when the governor, when they were planning on expanding Torrey, I think it was Greer, South Carolina, us, and somebody up in New Jersey. We were all in competition to get this $1 billion expansion. So his folks came up from Richmond. We met with them. We gave them a good water deal, sewer, everything. We gave them really good deals to put with the package, because they were going to package this package and take it back to Tokyo. I took the advantage of being there with those folks, and I said, we have a problem here too that maybe you guys can help. We have to build a $50 million wastewater treatment plant. We don't have any money. And they came back and gave us a loan of $50 million with no interest and gave us $12 million grant. So that was a huge, huge savings. We were in the process of raising our sewer rates, but once we got that loan with no interest, we were able to stop, and our sewer rates have calmed down for the last 6 or 7 years. We haven't had any increase.
Let's just talk. That brings up one thing. I know we're getting close to out of time here, but let's talk about.
We've been here 2 hours already.
I know it's been a while, but let's just do this. Talk about one thing.
Well, I think people want to really know these things. I think this interview with you, Mike, today is a lot different than I've watched you with other candidates sitting here in this chair, because it's just.
We have a lot more information.
Well, I have a lot more information, and I'm excited because I know all this information. I'm not going into it blind.
Not a closed session.
You know, whether or not I disagree or just not disagree with some of the members of council, whether they like me or I don't like them, that has nothing to do with it. Business as usual. Get down to the tax. You know, just do it. Run the meeting. I mean, the mayor, you set the agenda, but the agenda is set by the will of the council.
Sure. Council
Calls the mayor, says, I want to put this on the agenda. Mayor goes to the town manager, says, council wants to have this on. When can you have all this ready to put it on the agenda? Well, it might be a month. Okay, let's earmark it for a month from now. So you make this agenda and you hold that agenda. That is your agenda. You don't let outbreaks happen out. You know, you try to be nice to the public. You've been there a few times when somebody goes on and on and on. It's like, you know, do you mind, you try to, do you mind, kind of wrap it up a little bit? I got other 6 members of council that's looking at me to run the meeting with a 3-minute limit, and it's hard to say something in 3 minutes.
Oh, it is. It is.
It is extremely hard.
Well, let's talk about this real quick, because I'm sure you have a comment on it. Because the interim mayor, Mr. Tederick, is bringing up I use the word slush fund. Slush funds are illegal in the state.
The town, does not have a slush fund. We have sewer and water. I'm out of words. Okay, we have the
Hollis is out of words. Can you believe that?
Anyway, we have our own water, sewer, electric, and our sanitation departments. Okay, when you start tapping into our system, you're using our whole entire system. You're not just tapping in, putting a little hole in the pipe. You're tapping into a $50 million wastewater. You're tapping into a water plant that millions of gallons that has to be treated. Chemicals are more expensive today than they ever have been. Yeah, it was brought to our attention by a builder many years ago that it was like being a member of a country club and not getting anything. We've had studies done, and to be fair to the citizen, they gave us options. Do you want to charge your customer, your citizen, $10 a month, or do you want to charge them 20 or 30 or 40? If you do that, then they gave you a step-by-step how much water sewer taps. But there is no such thing as a slush fund. There is no such thing.
Well, they sure are adamant that we have this extra $12 million that we can just lower all our tap fees down to nothing almost. And
if we didn't have extra monies invested, that's where we got our $10 million when we did the $10 million loan, the bridge loan. We took it from some investments that we had, and we put it all back, thank goodness, that we were paid our money back. But do a study. If the study says reduce it, you have a slush fund, if that's what you want to call it.
You have extra revenue.
Yeah, and some of the council members, well, we don't want to take from you, the taxpayer, what we don't need. Well, we never did that. The taxes, we collect taxes on real estate. All these other things, we take millions of dollars from the electric department, their fund,
And state law governs how much you can charge.
Exactly. And
you can't just set arbitrarily rates.
They're not paid. It took me a long time to convince people that the taxpayers did not put those lines out to the corridor. It was the water and sewer users. When you used that faucet, you paid, and that's how they got the money to pay for all this stuff.
Right.
There was no taxpayer money. Taxpayer money is for, goes into the general fund. But we have other taxes that we collect. Machinery tax, automobiles, just whatever we tax.
Well, they say we have.
The only thing we don't have right now is a cigarette tax. So that's another 60 or 40, 50, 80,000. I don't know how much that would be.
Right.
But then there you are,
Well, I do know that, we have our own electric department that distributes electric. Well, if a substation transformer blows up, how much money is that?
600,000, maybe. 8, maybe.
And you got to
write how many blows up.
And you got to write that check right then and there.
You need to write that check. Our enterprise funds, that's the word I was looking for. Our enterprise
funds.
You have to maintain a balance because of I remember maybe 4 years ago we had the heavy snow, hung around for a week. We spent maybe $500,000 more
On
than
snow
we
chemicals
budgeted.
and snow removal.
We had to
right?
move it from the general fund, but we had it. We had
Right.
to pay it. So
Yeah, it's hard. I do know it's just like your own home savings account. Once you dip into it, it's sure hard to replace.
it is extremely hard to place because you've got to go and ask the taxpayer to give you another penny tax increase.
Right, or
And
raise your
maybe-
water and sewer fee.
And
or-
maybe when the council's doing their budget, if they see the need for 2 cents, let's put it out to the public and have a public hearing. What do you think about 2 cents because we want to do this or do that? What do you think about raising taxes 2 cents because we want to buy some derelict buildings and fix them up? You want to fix them up. We need money. Do you mind helping us? It's put referendums.
Sure.
Maybe something would come up, like maybe next year, the afternoon, should we as a town put it on a referendum? Maybe we should help with this situation. Let them. They're the
Put
ones
it on there and let them vote on it.
you have 6 members of council and the mayor, and sometimes it comes down to the mayor, and I hate that.
You hate to cancel that
I don't
cast
like
that vote, don't you?
I hate the word no. If a citizen says something, can I plant a tree in the middle of Main Street? Don't tell them no. Let's see what we can do. Let's see how we can do it. We might not be able to, and probably not anyway. But let's see.
Yeah.
Don't tell them no. So
And I think
so when
that's
I'm
what-
sitting there, and the vote's 3-3, I'm not going to tell somebody no. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to go with the affirmative. It's just.
Well, Hollis, it's been interesting talking to you.
Hopefully this one has been the colorfulest one.
It's colorful, between our shirts, we ought to be able to.
Oh yeah, we're good.
We're
Elvis,
good.
I borrowed this off of Elvis, so
Well, they say
He doesn't need it anymore.
real men wear pink. So
yeah, so yeah.
Well, I do appreciate you coming in. I know it's hard to talk about some of these things, but I'm glad you did. I'm sure people want to know your side of things. Plus, we want to talk about the election. It is coming up on November the 5th. In fact, this coming Tuesday is the last day you can register to vote. So if you're not registered, you have till Tuesday to get registered. So please do that. I think we're going to have a lot of races that are going to be very close because you have 3 people running.
It's going to be a busy election
It's
day.
going to be a busy election day. I think some of these races will be won by just a very few votes.
Could be.
Could be. And so every vote counts. So please, if you're not registered, please do register. If you're not going to be in town on November the 5th to vote, you can vote early and you can vote absentee. So go see Carol Tobin at the registrar's office. She's got, or check their website out on the Warren County site under voter registrar.
Voter registrar's office.
And all that information is there. We'll be posting that probably tomorrow or over the weekend as well. All the latest dates and information we need to know. But please vote. And I think that's
And
really
please vote for Hollis. I would
Well,
absolutely appreciate getting back into the mayor's chair. I would like to at least finish this term. And with that said, thank you, Mike, for
Thank you, Hollis.
having
Appreciate
me.
it.
I know I was a little hesitant. I know I've been putting you off for the past month, but I just felt that when I got out today, I needed to get out.
Well, we appreciate it. Thanks again, Hollis.
So hopefully, if it only has one person that affects,
Well, we'll read all about it on social media.
It'll get shared and shared and shared, and
I'm sure we'll have comments both ways. So
yeah, absolutely. And I didn't mention anything about the town working with the county because the town has always been working with the county. We have MOAs in place. We're getting $250,000 every year from our meals tax in the corridor. So things are going along good with the town and the county. So I don't need to beat that one to death.
right,
So,
all right. Again, we appreciate it.
absolutely, Mike.
Thanks
Thank you.
again.
And thank you for viewing.